Hey y'all, this is Philippe the Learn to Grow guy. Nope, I did not transform myself into a bee. However, I did get a message from my niece requesting some seeds to some greens. If you saw some of my previous videos, you'd know that I had a nice turnip green plant growing right there. Also from in front of the cabin, I also harvested some greens. All of this area here had tall turnip green pods, the seed pods growing everywhere. Let's see what we can dig up or pull up. Well, this was one. Here's another. As you can see, this portion here is a remnant of the mustard green, not mustard green, of the turnips that didn't get too big. Okay, this is another one. Okay. After harvesting them, I brought them here so they can dry. This is on top of my lumber pile so that I can get some work taken care of. In addition, I also had some over here by the garbage can, drying out so that I can do what I got to do with them. Okay, and typically you don't have to dry them out. It's been pretty cloudy in this area for the last so many days, but these seem to be drying out regardless. Today's one of the sunnier days that we've got. This is a remnant of a turnip that was growing from last year. So the thing is that basically turnip greens, like most greens, they're typically biannual type of plants. Meaning that the first year they'll produce whatever it is that they're going to produce. And the second year is when they typically go to seed. They'll flower up and then they'll go to seed, which is what happened to these. I'm going to take a stick a little bit because I already have some chosen already, and I'm gonna go show you what we're gonna do with this. But first, let's take a look at this. This is my main garden area, and as I'm going to show you, all these mustard greens, I planted them last fall. Okay, I planted them in the fall. They did come up, they did produce some leaves, but they were not that plentiful. Okay, however, this year, as you can see mustard greens, they're starting to flower up so that they can produce seeds. Okay, if you look all over this place here, you will see that there are some seed heads. I'm going to walk you through some. See that? They're all starting to try to go to seed, which means that I'm going to have a ton and tons of mustard seeds, mustard green seeds, that is. Okay, I've got tons of them. Guys, I really could use some help in trying to eat all of these greens because I can't eat them all alone. This little bugger here is the main noise that you're hearing out, in the background. Again, there's a lot of mustard greens here, and there's no way I'm going to be able to eat them all. So anyway, I'm going to try to show you exactly what I've been doing as far as collecting these seeds so I can send to my niece. Okay, just so that you all know, the noise you hear in the background, they're called cicadas. Okay, they're the ones that have that's on the 17-year life cycle, and this is the end of that 17 years. So therefore, they came up so that they can mate, drink some sap from some of your trees, from some of your plants, and then ultimately die. Okay, they take the sap in so that they're able to remain hydrated. This here is the branch that you saw me pick up. This is some of what I've been working on. I've been working on here, getting some of the seeds out, and this has been the spoil down there. Okay, I'm going to show you what I do. Now, typically there's multiple ways you can get the seeds out of the little husks. Okay, you can use a pillowcase. All right. What you would do is you would take all of these suckers here, you would stuff them into a pillowcase, and basically you would just rub the bag. Okay, you would rub it between two hands. As you rub them, these seed pods would actually erupt, and it would release the seeds. Okay, that's one aspect. I've used a paper bag in years past. I've used paper bags back when I was in Chicago, and basically what I did was I stuffed them in the paper bag, and like I said, I would put my hands in and I would just rub them. I would rub the little seed pods. I would just rub them and the seeds would come out. And ultimately what I would be left with is a bunch of the husk and the seeds would settle down, which is basically what I have here. Okay, all of these little things on the sides, like here. Oops, let's try to get them. All these little things, they're seeds. All of these long brown things, they're the waste. They're the byproducts. Well, they're the leftovers. They're like the husk, you know. This is trash, okay? But again, I would basically rub them, and that's what I would end up with. Here's what I basically do. With this little cheap plastic bag you get from the grocery stores, where you put your fruit and your veggies in, basically I would just basically put that in like that, and I would twist them, okay? And that will basically release the seeds from the little husks, okay? It pretty much releases just about all of the seeds, okay? Yep, it basically releases just about all of them. The seeds are real tiny. I don't know if you can see that or not, okay? But the seeds are real tiny, and that's basically what I would do. I'd basically go through it, and I would do it like that. And I'd also go through and I would crunch up the husks to try to release whatever I may have missed. But once you're done with them, what you'll be left with is, I'm shifting these to the side so you can see. Tons of seeds. Tons of seeds. What I would recommend is that when it comes time to planting them, do not just broadcast them like I did with the mustard greens, because you're going to get those things growing everywhere in great abundance. So basically, again, it's just getting them, you just rub them, and they pop out. Some of the seeds will pop out everywhere. I've done them sitting on floors in years past. I've done them in a lot of different ways, but nonetheless, the result is the same, as to where you have tons of seeds, more than you will ever have a need. So here's my recommendation to you, okay? Unless you're selling seeds, my recommendation is let at the most one plant go to seed, and let that be one of your very strongest plants. I'm saying that so that you can get strong genetic material, so that you have the strongest plants whatsoever that you're able to produce. And the following year, I would do the same thing, meaning that I would get some of the strongest, some of the most vibrant greens that came out of this whole thing. And that's what I would actually get my seeds from to grow. And again, God gives us everything in abundance, okay? And to me, I want you to think about something, okay? I don't know if you can see this or not. It's a little tiny seed, right? Out of that little tiny seed, I get a plant, and that plant produces more than one of these little heads, okay? And each of these little heads have these little pods. Each of these little pods may have anywhere, I'd say maybe 10 seeds or more in them, all right? And that means that the following year, you're going to get so much. And that, like I said, I call that God math, okay? So from all those seeds you get, if you plant every last one of them, you're going to get so much stuff. It's just going to be crazy, okay? And again, that's why I call it God math. It's the same type of math as to where you can take one apple, right? And you open that apple up, and you get you get an apple seed. You can get all those apple seeds. Let's just say that each apple has about 5 seeds in it. You get those, you plant those. Guys, when those trees start to produce, you're not going to get just 5 apples. You're going to get so many apples, it's just ridiculous, okay? So, like I said, I call that God math. That's why, for me, when it comes to gardening, as God provides, I believe in sharing. I mean, think about it. Even with looking at sweet potatoes, for example. You can take one sweet potato, right? You take one measly little sweet potato. You put it, let it sit in some soil, or if you want, you can let it sit in some water. And pretty much what you're going to end up with is you're going to end up with potato slips. As these sweet potato slips start to come up, basically what you're going to do is that you can put them in water, you can plant them. And once they start growing even longer, you can even cut those up and get some more of those sweet potato slips. And even have, I mean, in reality, I wouldn't be surprised if you wouldn't be able to get more than 1,000 different sweet potato slips and counting, okay, from a single sweet potato that you start you start trying to get slips from. All right. And again, and from each of those sweet potato plants that you would get from each of those slips, you're going to get a whole lot of sweet potatoes, a whole lot of sweet potatoes coming out of there, okay? And again, I call that God math, all right? I call that God math. M-A-T-H, not meth. We're not druggers here, man. We don't need no drugs here. Okay, so anyway, that's what I wanted you to see. So out of all this stuff here, I would basically, well, let me get all these little seeds and stuff out of the way. You're going to make a mess with the seeds, okay? You're going to have seeds growing everywhere. So just a heads up on that, okay? Just a heads up on that. Oops. And the wind bloweth it away. So this is me removing just the husk, okay? If there are any seeds, some seeds may even fall out of this too, okay? Okay. One of the things I've done one time in Chicago is that I had a fan going, and I would put these, I would put the seeds like this in a big bowl after I took all the large portions of this, like this husk out. Once I did that, I had a, well, let's see. Give me a second. Okay, all of this is the trash stuff that I picked up out of this bag here. And I'm doing this so I can release whatever additional seeds that may be left, okay? I'm going to take these. You can put these in your compost bin. You can put them wherever you're going to put them. But me, I'm just going to toss mine over the rail for the simple reason that I'm going to be mowing, which means that I'm going to be trying to compost this and it can go right back into the ground. And at the same time, I'm tossing it out there because whatever greens come up that I don't want, that's going to be growing right out there. I don't want them that I can just mow them right back into the soil, okay? I can just compost them right back into the soil, okay? So, but here's the importance of saving your own seeds. Part of the importance is that you now know that the seeds that you have, they will grow in your soil, okay? You now know that they will grow in your soil. So this is what we ended up with. I don't know if you can see all this, but this is way more seeds than I could ever use. I said, I don't know, I'm not a mathematician, okay? I'm not a mathematician, but I said that's between 100,000 or even 500,000 seeds here. I don't even know what I'd do with them. Even if it's only 100,000 seeds, okay? Even if it's only 100,000 seeds, I got way more seeds than I can ever use, okay? I'd say maybe if I'm going to try to do a garden, maybe a pinch, this much seeds is the most I probably use. And look, guys, there's plenty of seeds left, okay? So, again, the best thing you can actually do, in my opinion, is actually to, whatever seeds you buy, get them acclimated to your soil, okay? Get them acclimated to the place where you live at, so that you're able to get much success in the next time you're going to be growing these. Some of this will be going to my niece, okay? And others I will probably save and share. Some I love sharing anyway. I'll probably be sharing some of those. And see, look, this is some of the stuff I have left from, I don't know if you can see these or not, but let's see. Some of these seeds down here, I don't know if you can see them, but that's what I have left. Yeah, you can see them. All these little seeds here, okay? All those seeds is what I have left from the pile of seed husks that remain. So guys, grow your food in your area, harvest your own seeds, save your seeds, okay? And Izzy, I'm going to be putting these in the mail to you. I also have some mustard greens. The ones I just showed earlier, those are not going to be ready in time for me to send to you as soon as possible. So I'm going to be sending you some of the mustard greens from what I have in my stash from, I think, last year or the last year I was in Chicago, okay? That's where those seeds are going to come from. But otherwise, once they get acclimated to your area down in Florida, you should do fine. They should do fine, okay? All right, y'all take it easy. Philippe, the Learn to Grow guy, and Patrick is the editor up in Canada. And Patrick, please make sure you put something saying that, you know, editor, Patrick. Okay, talk with y'all soon. Y'all take care.